What's up, Raiders? Bionic here. Welcome to today's Raid Shadow Legends video, where we're going to talk about my roster. I want to go over my game changers, the champions that made the biggest impact on my account, because I recently did my 18-month progress update as a free-to-play player, as well as like a build video on Martyr, saying sort of like she's not a game changer for me right now, even though for a lot of people she would be a game changer, especially early on. The reason she's not a game changer on my account is because I'm already at a certain point. So I thought this would give you guys a good overview or understanding of how champions are actually game changers for you guys when you're playing this game. It really depends on just when you get them. So my game changers are not necessarily yours, okay? So we're gonna go over most of my champions real quick, and then I'll tell you guys where I use them and why they were a game changer for me. All right, so let's get started. First one, Torment. Obviously, great champion overall. Void, legendary. The passive, I think, is the biggest impact that this champion has, as well as a good AoE provoke combined with the stun if you have him in a stun set. Really, really strong for arena. And for a little while, I was using him in Ice Golem and the Spider Dungeon with the HP burn method, and so he was like the crowd control champion, right? Sorry. Arbiter, obviously, full speed. It is a big challenge to get her as free to play, but when you do, your account will improve drastically. Before Arbiter, I literally did not really have like a gore grab, okay? So I was forced to work with a Haikatoon at level 50. That's literally how much I stretched it out until I was able to get the Arbiter. Solus doesn't do much for me right now, sort of playing around with him, but really, like, I'm not using him that much. Then we have Skull Lord Vorgal. Also not really using him. Brachus the Shifter, I got through a shard. I didn't fuse him. I'm trying to get used to using him, but like his single target attack is good in certain applications, but overall I tend to prefer strong AoE nukers. Therefore, Brachus also not really being used. Xavier, great champion, but like I don't use her. I don't need her for dungeons. I don't really need her for the arena. Kind of only using her for faction wars right now. Then we have Cantor the Cyclone. Again, kind of just fuse her. I tried her out as a spider tank. Works, but I have better. So like, not really useful for me right now, but she was used for Faction Wars Stage 21 for Barbarian, so I'm still glad I fused her. But like, you can kind of see that some champions are not really used for me in the end game. They kind of like get only used towards the end of like the Faction Wars, right? Rosin, definitely a game changer. I pulled mine from a shard. I was really close to being able to fuse him. I could fuse a second one, not going for that, but this guy made a huge difference on the clan boss and is still doing quite the job well. In fact, like I have a hard time deciding between Martyr and my Rosin right now, considering I already have a Skull Crusher, which is relatively well built. Then, of course, we have a Battle Khazar. Even though I got him late in the game, he does make a good difference on my account, mainly for the client boss, right? So mine is built in Stalwart, the only champion in Stalwart for my clan boss champions. And I would love to eventually maybe go full speed on this guy so that I can farm like Dragon 20 with just the Battle Khazar and then do food at the same time. Same thing with Mino 15. But for now, he's a crucial part of the clan boss, therefore I'm not going to change his gear or increase his speed, right? He needs to be well tuned for that. Sal of the Drakes, same thing, was useful to some degree. I do use her in Tag Arena a little bit, but I never really needed her for dungeons, and she really shines in Faction Wars. So is she a game changer? I wouldn't say that she is, because my dungeon runs are so fast now and they're like literally glass cannon builds that I don't need survivability. A little bit, but like Sile of the Drakes is maybe a little bit too much survivability. So I tried to play around with a shield set for her, mainly for Tag Arena. Still somewhat useful, but I wouldn't exactly say a game changer for me. I did max her out. I think she's well worth it, especially if you get her early on. If I would have had Sile of the Drakes during my first 6 months of playtime, she would have been a game changer. But right now, not quite. Rhodos, obviously, a total game changer, right? This guy made the arena that much easier. For the longest time, I did not book him, and I just recently got a decent Relentless set with 100% crit rate. It's still not perfect. Crit damage could be higher, but still, overall, I'm quite happy with his performance. Definitely one of my better nukers, using him in Tag Arena all the time, in Faction Wars as well. So I consider that to be a game changer. Foley, definitely a game changer. For a while there, he wasn't that great, but then they buffed him. Now he's my bread and butter for Classic Arena, my ultimate nuker, my farmer, great in Faction Wars as well. I don't really use him in dungeons whatsoever because I use a different nuking method to do that, but still well worth it. I did not fully max him out. I think this skill is the one you really want, and maybe the passive as well, which could be maxed out. Masteries are pretty straightforward on this guy. Harvest Jack, definitely a game changer. Yet again, another fusion that really made a difference on my account, and you guys will start to see a pattern here. I'll come back to that point in a second. But Harvest Jack is a fantastic crowd controller as well as a great candidate for a shield set. Therefore, decided to go with that on him. It hasn't been easy to try and keep his speed up because I'm using a shield set as well as trying to keep his accuracy relatively high. In my case right now, it's a little bit low for high gold 4 or tag arena, but he still does his job really, really well. And until recently, I had not put any books in him. The second I did, I was able to complete Faction Wars stage 21, especially because of this skill right here. This 100% chance of placing in True Fear is huge. This skill doesn't really matter that much, at least not for me. Same thing with the A1. I suppose I could increase it, but again, not worth the legendary tomes for a free-to-play player like myself. And then here's his masteries. Ghostborn, not quite the game changer. I used him quite a bit because I got him early on. Great for AoE decreased defense, but I don't like the 5-turn cooldown. And I don't like that I had to put legendary tomes in order to do this, especially since we have like a War Maiden and I already had a Zorgala. So like he was kind of like my spirit version of AoE decreased defense, but eventually I got, in my opinion, a better champion, which I'll get to shortly. Martyr, got recently, maxed her out, just did a build video on her. She's good, but like I explained in the video, the difference between increased defense and her decreased defense, which is only a 75% chance, even though it's on the A1, it sometimes falls off. With the Rosin, I rarely have that issue, so I feel like the Rosin is a little bit better, and because I have 2 counterattacks, I still think my Skull Crusher with the Allied Protection is sometimes a little bit better, but it's still a great option for Spirit, or not the Spirit, but different affinities for the clan boss, okay? So I do have both built, and if anything, it's a roster that's a little bit more complete now. Lugan the Steadfast, got him early, tried to use him clan boss. Not overly impressed with this guy. You need a lot of books to max him out, especially this skill right here if you want to use him as a crowd control champion. Really good for Faction Wars though, really, really strong, but again, not a game changer for me. Umbral Enchantress, I just recently built her again, not exactly a game changer because I have Torment, okay? So you can kind of see here the importance of when you get those champions. If I would have gotten the Umbral before Torment, definitely, she would have been a good game changer because she's a very solid crowd control champion. But because the Torment was first, not quite. Basher would be maybe a little bit more game changer for me, but I wouldn't exactly say one of my top 15. Definitely really useful right now for Tag Arena. Not really used anywhere else for the time being. I did max this guy out, if I'm not mistaken. Lightsworn was used for a short amount of time because he was a better decrease attack champion than my Crimson Helm, but not a game changer. Padma, definitely a game changer. She came at a time where I was so desperate to get a solid decrease attack A1 champion, even though she doesn't have like increased defense, let's say like a Sepulchre Sentinel or a good aura. I'm still really happy about this 100% chance of applying the decreased attack. It adds a lot of consistency to my clan boss runs, all right? Then we have Seer. Seer right now is my bread and butter for like 3 dungeons. Also using her in Arena. She's a little bit low on accuracy to be really good in Tag Arena, but still a solid champion to have on any account. The problem with a Seer is that you need a lot of other champions to sort of like enable her to be that much better. But still, I think she's a game changer, assuming you can get the other champions, okay? But I'm still going to put her in my list of top 15. Then we have Mausoleum Mage for exactly that reason. Great champion overall, great for Tag Arena, great enabler for the Seer. Kind of like a like epic version of Sifi, I guess, with his buffs right here. The only thing I don't like about this guy is like the order in which he places the buffs is wrong compared to Sifi, and they have not fixed this yet. So he's going to put the increased crit rate and increased defense before the block debuffs. Therefore, against a Torment, this will trigger the Torment, and then you're going to apply the block debuffs, but you're still frozen. I find that so... Anyway, they should really look into that. Anyway, let's keep going. Skull Crusher, game changer. This guy came after 9 months, 8 months maybe, and like that was like my last month before I got Arbiter, my counterattack champion. I love this guy. Probably one of my better built champions right now, especially in terms of like being a tank. I use him to take the stun from the clan boss all the time, even though he's not in lead. So again, I really love a Skull Crusher. You'd think maybe Gore Grab would have been a game changer. No, because I already have an Arbiter, right? So if I would have had a Gore Grab early on, definitely would have been a game changer, but in my case, not quite. Then we've got, of course, the Royal Guard. Enemy max HP AoE, and also does this skill first compared to a Cold Heart. This is what makes him really stand out. Really strong champion. One of my early champions that I built to have 100% crit rate and a decent amount of crit damage. Have never changed a gear on this guy. Still love him, still use him, but now only really for like Spider and Faction Wars because I use Seer for the other dungeons. So really good, but like it was a game changer because I got him early on. Nowadays, if I get a second one, I wouldn't exactly say he's a game changer, right? Stag Knight, I just recently got, is a game changer. Like I said, he's the guy that replaces my Ghostborn. 3-turn cooldown for the AoE decreased defense and decreased attack. This is solid. I love this champion. So happy that I got him. So is on my list of top 15 game changers. Then let's keep going. Of course, the last two, sorry, just checking my notes here, make sure I don't forget any. Yeah, the last two would basically be 2 Cold Hearts. Not 1, but 2. I have 3. But I think 3 is a little bit too much. Right now, I'm trying to go back to where I'm only using 2. And the third one is going to probably go back to the vault. Even for Faction Wars, it's too much. 2 Cold Hearts is already pushing it in terms of like a glass cannon. But 2 is really solid. I do use 2 of them against the Fire Knight and 2 of them against the Spider. 20, okay? So for those reasons, I'm going to put 2 of them on there. I think they're relatively accessible over time. I get it. Some of you guys might not get these champions within your first year of gameplay. For whatever reason, apparently I'm super lucky with the Cold Hearts. I probably had over like 12 on my account so far in 18 months of playing, okay? But still, enemy max HP, really solid champion. And you can see that the gear... sorry, somewhat older gear. It's not gear that like the new stuff I'm keeping from my better champions, will say like my top legendaries and top epics. But like for champions I only use in dungeons or Faction Wars, I'm kind of using like my original attack gear, right? That I got crit rate, stuff that I got really early on and that I maxed out. And I tried to put them very similar so that I can switch pieces around easily so that I can hit very similar stats between both of them, right? But still, I love Cold Hearts. I think they're one of the most wanted champions in the game. Anyway, so as for the rest, I mean, a War Maiden makes a huge difference on the account because she's farmable and accessible. I'm not going to say she's a game changer. She's just a necessity early on, right? Everybody sort of gets her and starts working with her. Frozen Banshee, I did get the Occult Brawler before, and like right now I've been trying both of them, and I can't say I see a huge difference to a point where I'm like, Frozen Banshee tripled my clan boss damage, you know what I mean? So not exactly game changer. The rest down here were kind of just used for short amount of time during my playthrough, like Coffin Smasher, decreased attack A1. I got the Painma right after, so I kind of dropped this guy. Runic Warder is a guy that I use specifically for Fire Knight level 20. So again, kind of like a niche application. Ethel early on was used quite a bit. She wasn't a game changer, just one of the starter champions. And then the rest, obviously an Apothecary is pretty solid, but like, I got him relatively late and I sort of like managed to work around not having an Apothecary. So when I got him, wasn't exactly a game changer. Then like an Armiger wasn't a game changer for me because I got 3 Cold Hearts really early on. Anyway, and then the rest is basically just stuff I'm working on for Faction Wars and whatnot. But anyway, you can kind of see with my top 15, which I'll quickly recap. It's Tormund, Arbiter, Rosin, Battle Khazar. We've got Rhodos, Foley, Harvest Jack. Mainly fusion champions, free and fusion champions, except of course for the Battle Khazar. So again, this video is also to remind you guys to save your resources for those big events. We've just had the Kreela, the first fragment fusion. It wasn't as easy because you can't save all the rares or epics you need to complete it, but still I think that if you guys always get into the habit of saving your resources and using them at the right time, you will benefit from this. You will get game changer champions over time. It's not new player friendly. It took me about 4 to 5 months before I completed my first fusion, which was a Foley, which was a lot easier than they are today. So I'd say expect that it's going to take you about 6 months as a free-to-play player to start having enough resources saved up for you to start completing those fusion events without having to spend, or just using your saved up gems, shards, food, and brews, right? And then we're going to keep going here real quick. So Harvest Jack is in there, of course. Then we've got Padma, we've got Seer, we've got Mausoleum Mage, Skull Crusher, Royal Guard, Stag Knight, and then 2 Cold Hearts. All right, guys. So quick overview of my account and how some of these champions made the difference for me. And as I've said in the beginning, it's a different journey for everybody. So don't look at other people's tier lists and say, I'm not going to build anything until I get those champions. There's an endless possibilities of synergy between these champions. You just have to figure out how to best use them. Anyway, hopefully this helps you guys a little bit sort of plan for the future. And as always, thank you so much for watching. I'm sorry for the voice today. I'm a little bit sick, but hopefully I can keep making a video a day for the following week. Anyway, all that being said, thank you and catch you guys later.